This is the movie that I'm reviewing today. Already, 3 episodes in and I found something that I like to call one of the worst. Yeah, you know exactly what it means. The word teenagers in the title has nothing to do with the plot, and it's not even mentioned once in the movie. Yet this is a small flaw of it. Just you wait. Now let's be fair. This was a low-budget movie.
Dr. Mason! Dr. Mason! I'm sorry, I guess it was nothing. A sudden light reflection, it startled me.
There's no doubt a comet or a meteor.
No, it seemed to be a drill-shaped thing, revolving. No, it must have been my imagination, but it makes me realize how desperately alone the Earth is. Hanging in space like a speck of food floating in the ocean. Sooner or later to be swallowed up by some creature floating by.
51 seconds into this movie and it's cracking me up. Wonder what purpose these astronomers serve. They don't show up again after this scene, do they? Proceed. So we see a drill-shaped spaceship land on Earth, and we see our first teenager alien come out. Forget the dog. You know, I realized, why does the barking from a dog sound like it was played backwards? Weird. After the aliens exit the spaceship, they start talking. Don't you worry, I'll get to the plot in a moment.
You have concern for foreign beings over our mission to locate grazing land for our Gargan herds?
We shall not have the thousands of Gargans brought here to destroy them.
It is the one and only way to maintain the supreme race. Have you forgotten?
Our people have forgotten.
We will leave nothing else for it to consume.
Imagine thousands of beasts like that, millions of times enlarged, roaming over this planet.
They will be harvested.
These aren't the worst actors either.
Before the High Court has you executed, you should be made to watch what happens when we return here with the Gargans.
Okay, let's get to the plot. After the dog is killed by the laser gun...
You are not familiar with the focusing disintegrator ray?
The what?
We see the aliens come out of their spaceship and bring out their radio equipment. Yeah, I know that it looks like normal radio equipment, but the movie's budget was only $20,000, and it was a very small budget at the time, so I am not going to criticize most of the special effects. However, this does not excuse the bad writing and acting in this picture. So after the aliens set up their communications, the protagonist named Derek picks up the dog tag from the skeleton.
Wait, Captain. I have found evidence of intelligent beings on this planet.
Of what concern are foreign beings?
Of none to you, Thor. Just as you were so unconcerned when you destroyed the small creature. So bravely.
It was no more than an insect.
But it had life. And that life you had to take to satisfy your endless hunger for killing.
Silence! Both of you!
Okay, stop. This scene is spontaneously written out of nowhere. And don't you worry, there's more coming. So immediately, Derek threatens the captain with a focusing disintegrator ray because they are going to unleash the Gargan specimen on our planet for its food supply to ensure the survival of their planet.
Recall! It is necessary as a reserve food supply for our people.
Our people? We live like parts of a machine. We don't know our fathers or mothers were raised in cubicles. The sick and the old are put to death.
It is the one and only way to maintain the supreme race. Have you forgotten?
Our people have forgotten. They have been made to forget for centuries. But I have learned how it once was. Families, brothers and sisters. There was happiness. There was love.
Well, where did you get this information?
I have read. I have read from this book. I discovered it and kept it hidden. I have read.
I'll explain the stupidity in a little bit.
Let me see that book. I am interested to see what sways your mind so heavily.
You may have it.
Bring up the Gargan.
After the protagonist idiotically gets his weapon taken away from him, we get to see the Gargan, which is a real-life crayfish. However, the specimen does not appear to be surviving. I'll let the captain explain the rest.
The atmosphere here tested above minimum, but the Gargan species cannot live due to excessive nitrogenic gas compounds emitted in our preliminary diagnosis.
Time for more bad screenwriting. The captain, who has no name by the way, enters the spaceship to call their leader, who also has no name, to return to their home base because our planet appears to be unsuitable for survival. While the aliens are packing up their equipment and watching their prisoner, Derek, he escapes. Easily.
Your orders are complete.
He is escaping!
Go for! How did he get free?
He escaped from Saul. I could have stopped him.
After the escape, these two aliens put the monster inside a cave nearby because it's alive after all. By the way, say goodbye to these characters. They won't appear ever again. Just a side note, it turns out that Derek is the son of the aliens' leader. Now it's up to the bad guy Thor to capture Derek. Congratulations, we're only 15.5 minutes into this movie, and there's tons of problems so far. The acting is laughable. There are 4 pointless characters so far, which are the 2 astronomers and the 2 aliens who will never show up ever again. By the way, why didn't these 2 aliens help Thor capture Derek, or even guard the monster in the cave? Most importantly is the poor character development. Derek talks about the oppressive society that he lives in and how wonderful it used to be in a book. We also find out that he's the son of their leader. None of these plot devices are all that important in the story, and it's literally given to us out of nowhere with absolutely no development at all. Put it to you this way, it's the movie literally saying, Derek is the good guy now, for some reason. By the way, Derek's father will not show up until the very end of the movie, and this spaceship is way too small for all these 5 aliens, yet somehow it's more roomy on the inside. Whatever, we're only at the very beginning, so we have another 70 more minutes to go. The hero arrives in a town where he uses the dog tag from earlier to locate a house that happens to be a room that is up for rental. He meets this girl named Betty and her grandpa.
How do you do, son? Just arrived in town? Don't believe I've seen you around before.
I just arrived.
And your name?
Derek.
Derek. The empty room belonged to my brother Bud. He's married now and lives upstate.
Your brother? You knew your brother?
Did I know my brother? That's a strange question to ask. Grandpa raised us both since we were kids after Mom and Dad died.
I am sorry, It's just that I never knew any brothers or sisters.
Your mother and father decided to play it smart and avoid a lot of squabbles around the house.
Oh, Grandpa.
I never knew my mother or father.
They literally just met this guy, and he looks, sounds, and acts like he's mentally insane. And look at this. They don't even bother to ask him to pay for rent, nor does he say where he's from.
He did, huh? Well, maybe he doesn't like to talk about where he's from. By the looks of his outfit, I'd say he's raised in a private school of some sort.
Meanwhile, Thor catches a ride and arrives at a gas station where he finds out where Derek is. Then he murders his driver and the gas station attendant. Apparently, the skeletons are bolted for some reason. We now cut to Betty and Derek visiting her friend Alice to swim. Oh yeah, Betty also let Derek drive the car. Why? And for that matter, just listen the way he talks.
Oh, much better.
Wait, Betty.
Yes, Derek? What is it?
When I came to your place, it was because of...
Yes?
I just arrived here.
After that conversation, we meet Alice.
Hi there. Who's the stranger?
Joe couldn't make it, Alice. I talked Derek into coming along. Derek, this is Alice.
Derek. Hey, I like that.
Sheesh, I wish everybody in the whole world was this nice. Anyways, Derek accidentally drops a dog tag in the pool, and Betty gets a hold of it, which turns out to be her dog's. Derek explains that he came with a group of others, as he puts it, who destroyed her pet.
Oh, no, Derek, it can't be true. Why would anyone want to kill Sparky?
Lady, you're taking this pretty well. This guy randomly has your pet's tag, so your response should be calling the police and having this guy hauled off in the asylum. In fact, the next thing that she does is drive to the place where the dog's skeletal remains are with this guy. Woman, what is wrong with you? He could be a serial killer.
Horrible.
If I recall, this is the same location where the spaceship landed that other night, where it left a big mound and it drilled a hole in the ground. So the production could afford building or renting a small spaceship, but they didn't even bother building a dirt mound? That's not the worst of it though. When they arrive at the location, of course he explains what the focusing disintegrator ray does, and about this group that turned against him. Just listen to this dialogue and her response.
Betty, tell me, what is the most advanced form of transportation that you know?
What do you mean? What's that got to do with it?
Please, tell me, Betty.
Well, airplanes. Jet airplanes, I guess. Why?
And where do they go? From where to where?
To anywhere in the world.
And that's all?
Where else is there to go?
Derek ends up not telling Betty that he's from a different planet, but he needs someone to explain it to. Who? You want to know what Betty's solution is?
I guess I should try to find someone I can explain it to.
Maybe Professor Simpson at the college. He's head of the science department. He will...
I'll speed things up a bit. The bad guy arrives at Alice's house because he just asked the old man where his pal Derek is. The old man assumes that they are friends, and he also does not know about the double murder. Thor arrives at Alice's house and also asks for information, but she finds him suspicious and tries to call the police by swimming across the pool. Of course the bad guy kills her. Yes, she is the 5th pointless character in this movie. What a record. And by the way, Betty writes a note to her grandpa about her trip to the college to visit the professor. Just a side note, the police end up finding both of the skeletons at the gas station.
A double murder, Joe? When was it? Where?
We're not sure yet, Gramps. There's only a couple of skeletons.
This is one of the side characters, Joe Rogers, who's a reporter. The important thing to remember is that the actor portraying Joe is none other than the writer and director of this movie, Tom Grafe. Now, for some reason, people get him confused with the character actor, Derek. Now, anyways, all the credit goes to this guy. He won't direct another movie ever again. So our heroes go to the college to see the professor, but Thor ends up on their trail because he drove back to Graham's house to get more information, and the old man gives him the note written by his granddaughter. Meanwhile, back at the college, Betty and Derek aren't able to find Professor Simpson, so they go outside where they find his car because he just arrived. But behold, Thor gets to him first and he kills him too. However, he assumes that the protagonist drove back to Betty's house and he leaves the college. The professor's skeleton is found at the office.
Oh, Derek!
Oh, it's some kind of foolish joke. I'm not going to keep a job where this sort of thing goes on.
Immediately, Betty calls her grandpa.
Grandpa, was somebody there? Somebody you told we were at the college?
Oh, yes, a friend of Derek's. Did he find you okay?
He's a murderer. He killed Professor Simpson, Grandpa. He's after Derek, and he's probably on the way back to the house right now.
A murderer? But are the police...
Don't argue, Grandpa. Just get out of there.
But uh-oh, he gets captured. And so our heroes go to the City Hall police station where the police are waiting. And so Thor makes the old man drive there. It's strange that somehow Derek and Thor are driving down the same street and into a little car chase, yet they come from two different locations. But who cares, we have an epic action scene. So the police and Derek search for Thor, and Betty stumbles across a speck of blood on the pavement.
Derek!
Give me the weapon you have, Derek. Slowly. One sudden move and I slay you both.
Alright. I'm putting my weapon down. See, I put my... Since Thor is injured, he makes Derek drive the car to the hospital to have the bullets removed. Wait, why don't you have him drive to the original landing site, assuming that they'll be there? I know that you'll eventually have to get them removed, but that's not important right now. In fact, the planet that you come from is more technologically advanced than our 1950s planet Earth.
Where is our ship? I will take you there.
No, it is gone. Do as I say!
Thor, you're an idiot. So yes, the villain makes the doctor repair him while he watches the protagonists. Now get this, Thor does this without any anesthetics.
I will not be drugged. You will simply remove the pellets.
Well, what a shocker, the doctor drugs him so he becomes incapacitated. Why doesn't Derek grab the weapon from him then? Okay, never mind.
Come back! I'll find you! You cannot get away!
I was terrified he'd see us before we got out of there.
He may yet. Get in. I will take you back to the police.
In his present condition, he cannot remain conscious long. By the time we return with the police, he should be completely helpless.
Derek, what was he talking about? The guy bound to be raised here, and you...
Before we move on, I want to showcase you Thor's acting before he passes out.
I can hear you! I can hear you breathing! You cannot escape me! I'll find you! I'll find you! I'll find you! I'll find you!
We see our heroes drive to a telephone booth where the doctor tries to call his nurse, who is arriving for office hours, because she does not know that Thor is a mass murderer, who is passed out on the floor. Unfortunately, the nurse applies the bandages and injects him with the medicine, so he revives and immediately takes her hostage. Just listen to the reaction from our heroes.
The police are on the way, Dr. Brand.
It's no use. I was too late. They're gone.
Thor has escaped? But how could he? You said he would be helpless that...
Without aid. But my nurse, she didn't know. She bandaged him, gave him an injection. He revived.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, the reporter Joe Rogers and this other guy named Mac arrive to the site where the dog was killed, and they explore the cave. At the same time, Thor makes the nurse drive to the same spot. However, Mac discovers that the Gargan is in the cave. The villain finds Joe at the site and he tries to kill him, but the nurse swerves the car to the side and he misses the shot. Thor knocks her out and we have a car chase between Joe and Thor. Unfortunately, the bad guy has poor eyesight due to the drug that was injected in him earlier. I'll let the news reporter explain what's happening. After all, he's one of the only good actors in this movie.
Man guilty of these strange killings now lies mute in confinement at General Hospital, where he is being treated for minor injuries. Authorities plan to transfer him to City Jail tonight. The fantastic murder weapon he used has not been located. Mystery still surrounds the disappearance of a man-eating beast said to have been in an abandoned mine shaft outside the city limits. These newsreel shots were made immediately after the city police surrounded the cave and found it completely empty. Evidence in the cave appeared to confirm the report that a monster of some sort had been shackled there, but had somehow attained strength enough to pull itself loose and escape.
Derek and Betty arrive where the car wreck happened to find the focusing disintegrator ray to destroy the monster. You won't believe what happens next. Keep in mind that the monster is on the loose at this very moment. So, while Derek is looking for the weapon, the love interest trips and falls on him. And this very awkward romantic scene follows. And for no reason at all, Derek decides he wants to stay on our planet.
I shall make the earth my home, and I shall never, never leave it.
Wow, this is stupid. Don't you have a planet to save? It's also during this scene that Betty finally figures out that Derek is from another planet. And she takes it pretty well, too. You don't believe me, do you?
I think I know. I think I've known for some time. You're not from this world, are you?
We only have 23 more minutes to go, so I'll go as quickly as I can. Derek finds the gun under a rock. Yes, a rock. The authorities didn't even bother looking under that one. However, they also stumble across the monster, which is just a weird silhouette figure of a crayfish. Despite its size, it does not make any noise when it walks. But it does make this sound. Since the focusing disintegrator ray does not work due to the damage in the crash, our heroes escape back to Betty's house. How are they going to power up the weapon in time to defeat the Gargan?
There is a chance I can do something yet.
What? What are you looking at?
Those wires, going from pole to pole.
Yep, it works. How? By cutting the telephone wire, attaching it to the weapon, and powering up the city generator plant. Just 13 more minutes left. Even after the monster's death, there are more spaceships heading towards Earth, which we don't see, by the way. But don't worry, Derek has a plan. He heads back towards the house and he dresses up back in the original uniform and he takes Joe hostage.
Joe, don't! The disintegrator, it won't...
Betty! Trust me, Betty. Trust me.
Where does Joe take him? Well, to the hospital where the killer Thor is, who's conveniently just leaving it apparently. And so Thor, Derek, Joe, as well as Betty and Grandpa drive to the cave site where the spaceship will arrive.
Gramps, what are you doing here? Why do you concern yourself with them? Destroy them!
Why, Thor? They cannot change what is going to happen.
What is going to happen, Derek?
You must understand. Death must come to all. Sooner to some, later to others.
After the spaceship lands, Derek meets his father. Ah, well, that's not important. At first, Derek appears to want to destroy the human population, but he has a different plan to save humanity.
I see the fleet is approaching. They are flying from radio signals from the guide ship, are they not? Let me be the one to direct them in for landing.
Captain, are the ships close enough to receive their landing signals?
Momentarily, but...
Then go below, Derek. You will bring them in.
But Derek tricks his father by closing the hatch on the spaceship, and he radios in the spaceships too fast, which kills himself, Thor, the captain, and the leader. Thus, our hero's sacrifice saves the human race. The end. Man, this movie was kind of boring. The writing is bad, with pointless subplots and characters, as well as numerous plot holes and poor dialogue.
You know, I don't get this guy. Animals are humans. He just seems to like killing.
There's more to it than that, Joe. There's something behind this, something we don't understand. The weapon he uses, it's unheard of. Blasting flesh right off the bones.
The characters are also poorly written with terrible performances, especially the character Thor, who always has to shout every one of his lines.
Yes. How do I go there?
I said you will call no one. I heard the orders, Captain. Let me find Derek.
Honestly, the only two good performances were from the old man and the news forecaster. This could be some of the worst acting I have seen so far.
Horrible.
Okay, I'm done ranting for a bit, but I accuse my parents as a masterpiece compared to this one, and it's also part of the bottom 100 list. So go and try that movie out. Or a better option would be The Big Trail. So go and try those movies out and see what you think of them. On the other hand, I will pick a better movie to review. So, I'll see you in the next episode.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture and death.